Actually, you're gonna have to leave it somewhere too. So I would recommend again putting it in the tub and closing your curtain or whatever setup you have. And once there's also a way to actually clean off your screen. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to kind of just mishmash a little bit. But I did buy this item. It's called Shelby Stencil Remover, and I got it at Herwig's. And it's a powder, and it was $5.95. And this powder here, I have a gallon container. All you do is just fill a gallon, or just buy a bottle of gallon water, and add this into it and just shake it up. What I did is we actually put it in a little spray bottle, and you can keep the rest, and it doesn't have a shelf life or anything. It lasts for a fairly long time. He said don't ever worry about storage or cool or anything like that. And so I'll pass this around if you guys want to see it, because it's very specific that it says stencil remover, because there are other ones for different types of printmaking there. And the great thing about that is after you're done with the screen and you want to clear it off, this is where this comes in. And so you just put it in a spray bottle. It's a very simple technique. All you have to do is just douse the entire screen evenly so that it's wet evenly. Don't let there a dry area be here and there and so forth. Because this is also kind of not highly irritable like the emulsion, but it's not good for your skin either. So just keep that in mind. It's not that horrible. And just try not to touch it. And I just cleaned this off earlier before I got here with this. This was actually all covered in the green emulsion. And which the friend of ours who was supposed to be here, we went over to his house last night, and he had the wrong type of removal for the emulsion that he had on his screen. This is his screen. So he had the wrong type of removal. So for like 2 hours, he would go and put stuff up. We were there waiting, kind of helping him or assisting him if he needed anything. And with a toothbrush, he was just scraping it. And he let it dry, and then he went back, and like it processed 2 hours, and it's still maybe, if you want to, let's just put something in layers, and it was a 3-layer thing. Maybe he only got, I think, about 1 layer off, just to show you how much didn't come off. And then when I bought that packet, added water, sprayed it on there, we didn't even have to scrub it. We just left it on there for 2 minutes, front and back. Left it on there for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, again, the time thing is everything. Because leaving it on there too long and then evaporating, it actually also can do the opposite effect, and it can harden the emulsion. Once this chemical, once this is actually dry, and you still haven't washed it off, it's just sprayed on there, that can actually make the emulsion stay even longer. So this can also have a negative effect. So again, keeping in mind, everything's a time-based thing. So after 2 minutes, all we did was just spray it off, and everything just kind of came off. This one we did it twice, right? And the reason we did it twice is because he had burned this screen like over 2 years ago, and so that emulsion's been on there, and of course it was in storage and so forth, an area, dry, crack, room, whatever, etc. And so it was really difficult to come off.
I wanted to bring something about getting the emulsion off. Earlier you mentioned overexposure of the emulsion, and if you get overexposure, is it possible to overexpose it in a certain area where it's impossible to take it off with the removal?
No. The overexposure of the emulsion only, I believe the overexposure of the emulsion only affects when you're rinsing off the image after you've taken your image off. And leaving it on there for too long, what it actually might do, and the only thing that he did say about overexposing the actual photo emulsion is that it might have a tendency to like fall off on its own. So like when you're using it, a chip might fall off of it, kind of thing. So it kind of like starts. So it sits in the screen, and then overexposing it kind of just makes it crack or chip like paint. That's what he said about overexposing that. And he definitely told me to emphasize to not panic on that overexposing, meaning overexposing it would probably have to be like a 15 or 20 minute too much kind of thing, not like 5 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes, so where it would matter back to the cracking of it. So with the spray, all you do is you apply it on there, and both sides, and you let it sit for 2 minutes, and you rinse it off. If you have a a power, like for your yard hose, like a spray, it's highly recommended. The harder the pressure, when you go to clean off this, the cleaner that you put on there, that stuff comes right off. If you just kind of run it under a sink or water, you're probably going to have to kind of use it on a toothbrush or some sort of bristle brush to scrape it off. So I highly recommend, if you're going to do this often, I'm sure the majority of us have a garden hose, or if not, get some sort of jet spray. The guy even recommended that a lot of people go, like, take 3 or 4 screens to the car wash and line them up there, and just like with that thing, just that stuff just flies right out because of the pressure on it. So I'm going to throw that in. I'm going to try that myself just to see if that actually works. So we start off with a blank screen, and you just walked in. Like, the screens that have an image like this is a stain, and so this doesn't mean that there's anything on there. It's just it's like you just stained the mesh. That's all you did with that, because of the heat. The heat changed everything except that image that's in there. Any questions so far?